Welcome back to Real Geek Media. It is Thursday, March 13th, 2025. Today, we're going to find out what happens when birds decide they've had enough of us. But first, before we get into that, we're here with author Christopher Michael Blake. I'm Hayden Stoll. Christopher, what are we up to?
Hayden, I'm doing the rump shaker while my retirement just goes down the drain. And on top of that, I have some memory loss this week.
Uh-oh.
I handed my wife the laundry and told her I can no longer participate for Mr. Trump in any women's sports. And she backslapped me after. I don't remember what happened after that. It was all a blur.
Oh. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. I hear you. Times are changing.
They are.
So we watched Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds from 1963, and this is a movie that I have not seen in easily 30, maybe 35 years. It's been
hard to bring it back up.
It's been a long time since I've seen it. We're going to find out if this was a terrifyingly brilliant movie or just a chaotic mess of feathers and plastic props. It was based on a short story by Daphne du Maurier. I don't know if you're familiar with that story.
Yeah.
Similar in premise, but very different in the film version. It seems like Hitchcock abandons most of that plot and just kind of went off on his own. Here we are set in this sleepy town of Bodega Bay. We have Melody Daniels, played by Tippi Hedren. She arrives in San Francisco looking for a bird pet shop. That's where she's at. And we just kind of move the story along. She runs into a man, Mitch Bremer, and she has an interest in him, and then we're off to Bodega Bay. Right,
I just want to hit time out right there.
Go.
I thought the best part of this movie was the pet store interaction, the push-pull between these two characters, where she comes out lying to him, pretending that she's a bird salesperson. And he knows the entire time she's not. And he keeps correcting her, and she's still playing around. And it comes to find out he actually knows who she is and that she's a professional liar and likes to play pranks on people.
That was great.
And, look, the push-pull between these two characters. Yeah. And I wish the movie had ended right there.
Oh.
I really do. And that's just my personal opinion. It reminded me the beginning of Hard Eyes with these two characters. There's some push-pull going on. And you can tell they both kind of are interested in each other. But, I'm not going to make it so easy for you. I mean, look, I never had a woman drive 2 hours after meeting me one time to come meet me and then be like, oh, yeah, by the way.
And she even has
the weekend.
Yeah. And she has
ex-girlfriend.
She has
your ex-girlfriend.
Exactly. But she has an elaborate plan to sneak into the house and deliver the lovebirds. But here's the thing, right? I agree with you. That opening scene was great. There's a lot of slow build through this.
Slow is not the word, Hayden.
But listen,
tedious.
I did not feel tedious. I enjoyed the slow build. I enjoyed that we got interplay with characters, who are more fleshed out than they probably deserve to be. But you got a lot of character interaction. Slow build, no score, just instant, terror. Okay, here comes birds. All you get is bird noises, and then it's just swarms. And I liked that. I appreciated that. I thought that was cool, because you take the time to build it up. Maybe it was too slow. Maybe looking back, it doesn't hold up as much.
What was the total run length of this movie?
2 hours.
And I'm going to tell you, this movie could not be made today.
No.
Not because it's anything heinous, not because the birds are attacking kids, but because there's nothing that literally happens in the movie for about 50 minutes to an hour.
It's an hour, about an hour in before the first attack.
Yes.
And here's what I'm watching the movie, and it's fresh in my head because I finished watching it today. And you're the recent update of The Mist.
Yes.
With Thomas Jane.
Yes.
I felt a lot of similarities in the build. I felt a lot of similarities in some scenes. I guess King may have been influenced by, some of the Hitchcock stuff, specifically the diner scene, which I loved in this movie. I loved that scene in this movie because
that's actually pretty good.
What's that?
She came over and she slapped her, and it was like, okay, we need to.
But even
stop saying I'm evil and all this other stuff, and who did this to you? And
I love that part, but I'm even talking about before that, where they're just they're in the diner, they're meeting up, they're just having conversation, the bartender's listening, people are interjecting, they're all talking about this. No, I was attacked. And then you have the bird expert woman who's like, no, they would never do that. She's like, lady, I just came from the school. Then you got the drunk guy chiming in, and you got the sea captain chiming in, the woman with the kids saying, please, you're scaring the kids. I love that scene. I thought that was fantastic.
This is just my opinion, and take it for what it's worth. Apparently, that lady who sat there and said that the birds can never attack has never been to the New Jersey shore where the seagulls will literally rip a French fry out of your hand while you're about to eat it. And these things have talons, and their beaks are sharp. And I'm sitting there watching this thing, and I'm like, all these birds on the New Jersey shore, all these seagulls, they need to be eradicated tomorrow. Because these things are parasites.
That's what
I have seen where these birds have ripped bags of potato chips out of kids' hands.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there like, can you imagine if there's no food? We'd be the next ones on the list.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I have to hide what I'm eating. And then I have my daughter running around chasing these seagulls around on the beach to keep her occupied. And, it's like, but these things are terrifying. If you go to the actual New Jersey shore, because it's like they're mobsters, and they need their percentage to be on that beach. They need their cut.
Yeah,
you got the Tony Soprano over there of seagulls sitting there. Hey, I need my French fry. Yeah, so this entire thing is totally plausible. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying it was just so long to get there. And not to jump ahead of you, because I know you were getting into the rest of the film, but I'm going to let you continue, Hayden. I don't want to keep telling jokes over what you were talking about. It's a little rude of me.
No, listen, with that diner scene, what I liked about it is, right, we've had an attack. This was the schoolyard attack. And I was just going to talk about that real quick. The build up to this scene, the school attack, right? You have Melanie. She tries to go into the classroom. They wave her off because they're doing like a singing lesson, right? So she goes out. She's going to smoke a cigarette. She finds a place to sit, and it's right by the playground. So she's sitting there, her back's to the playground. She's just smoking her cigarette. And here, we, the audience, see it because we're seeing the jungle gym behind her. 2 birds, 6 birds, 8 birds. By the time she finishes the cigarette and turns around, it is covered with birds. And I love that buildup. That is so good. That is so good. And stuff like that just isn't done anymore. And it's just you're just, a lot of what we get now is just, it's in your face. Here it is. This is just eerie and slow. And the cinematography is deliberate. And you have just, scenes throughout this where it's a boat going across the screen or a car going across the screen, and you're all the way back watching the dust trail. And those are beautiful shots. I love that. And to fit that into a movie like this, it's genius. It's great. It looks fantastic. Even the effects of the birds for the time, 1963. Like I watched it, I was like, I wonder how they did that. right? Like I know there's plastic props all over the place and towards the end of that, right? But when they swarm and they come out of the chimney into the house, it's just like, whoa, like that's a pretty
Yeah.
cool effect how they did that. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, what is the inciting incident in this movie? You know, if I was there and say, okay, we saw Avatar, we watched Avatar, the inciting incident is he arrives on the planet after his brother's death, and he's getting ready to go mind meld with this being that's supposed to be his brother's creature, the giant blue guy. That's the inciting incident. I can almost define that. He has to go there and kind of communicate, and that's the mission. That's the inciting incident. Here, I'm like, is the inciting incident, okay, she's going to play a prank on this guy by delivering the lovebirds, or is it the initial seagull kind of attack?
Do we need to know? Is it scarier not having one?
But you need, I mean, that's like one of the things that's writer 101 for me is like, okay, where's the inciting incident in this whole thing? And again, getting almost an hour into the film before something finally happens is like, and maybe I'm a little bit spoiled. Like when I watched the movie Rope, have you seen that?
No.
Alfred Hitchcock. The inciting incident is immediate. It's James Stewart. He plays a professor. He shows up for this dinner party. And before the dinner party, these two students, they've murdered their college professor. Or maybe a fellow student. And they're talking about there's no dead body scene in the entire movie. And they strangled him. And they're both holding onto the rope, these two kids. And they're like, what do we do with this body? The party's starting in a couple minutes. People are going to be here. And one of the guys goes, wouldn't it be fun if everybody laid their drinks on him? Well, how are we going to do that? We'll put him in this chest, and we'll put a tablecloth on top of the chest. The inciting incident is the first opening scene in the movie. It's the first 2 minutes of the movie. You know what it is. You watch Psycho. And it takes a long time to build to the Norman Bates scene.
Right. Yep.
But the inciting incident is not the Norman Bates scene. It's her decision to steal the money.
Right.
So is it her decision to drive to Bodega Bay that sets this whole thing off? Because really, she doesn't have to be a part of this whole thing. She didn't cause these birds to come.
Right. It was going to happen anyway. Yeah.
Right. So where's her, is it her meeting this guy and deciding, well, I had to go flirt with him for the weekend? All this was going to happen anyway. It's just her involvement with that. Is that the inciting incident? And I'm kind of thinking to myself, it's a little weak. And then she's kind of forced to stay there for the weekend. And, and then she's like, I have to stay with this girl who's to be her ex-girlfriend. And I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, that's not going to go over so well. And I just was like, wow, okay, that's a little thin. And, maybe for me watching other Hitchcock films, if I watched the movie where they were on the submarine and they're, and which is a great movie. It's I forget the name of it, but it's a submarine. It's a torpedo that hits. That's the inciting incident. You know what the inciting incident is. This one here, I was a little confused as in terms of what the inciting incident is. Is it that she got caught in a lie and she had to come out and prove herself? I didn't know. But in terms of the CGI, like you were talking about, because again, CGI didn't really exist back then. I think that they had like a screen that they put over with all those fake birds coming in. And then they put the scene in the front. Right. And that's how it was kind of done. And
like
this way they could swing their arms wildly without actually harming any birds.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
It looked great. I mean, it did. And I hear what you're saying about the inciting incident. Did you have any scenes in this where you were like, "Ma, that was really good"? Outside of like the opening scene, like we're talking like unsettling or eerie or the attack scenes or anything.
There were a few where I was like, "Wow, that was actually really well done." You mentioned one where the birds were coming down in the chimney. The other one where Melanie character goes into the spare room because she hears this noise upstairs, and then she gets trapped in that room. And I'm thinking, look, no offense, I could smash a couple of those things, but again, I have seen these seagulls be vicious. And if they wanted to peck your eyes out and eat your ears and eat my nose hair, they could do that. I mean, it just has to be enough of them because eventually I'm going to be worn out and tired. And these things, I mean, if you've seen them frenzied, I mean, forget about it. It's just so that scene I thought was very well done, and then them getting her out of there I thought was a little over the top. But
with that scene, what I really enjoyed that scene too. I thought it was terrifying, and one little thing in that scene that I thought was really really good was when you're getting the shot, the close up of her face, and her eyes go wide, and you see the panic and just the terror that is like going through her, and she can't get the knob of the door. No matter what she's doing, she just can't get the knob of the door. And I thought that was great. It was done so well that you feel her panic and her just terror to the point where she can't do a simple thing like just open the door, right? She's just overcome. I thought that was wonderful. And another scene similar to that I really liked was the phone booth scene where right out of the diner where the attack and the cars explode and she's in the phone booth and you're getting like first person. Here's the birds flying around, all this chaos going on outside, cars exploding, fire department trying to put out the fire, getting overrun, the horse and carriage flipping over. And then, she tries to get out a couple times and she's getting nipped and you get the overhead view and it was so well shot and it was so well acted. Just Tippi Hedren was just so good in this movie as far as like just the terror and the shock and the fear and just the way it was shot was just so good. Like a first person in a phone booth. Like, yeah, that's genius, right? Like glass all around, the birds are attacking, you're seeing everything behind it. That is just, even when like the fire department shoots the hose, it gets out of the hands and it shoots the glass. She's just like, she flinches when the water cut. I thought it was genius. It was great. It was so well done.
I can't take anything away from the cinematography in this movie or the direction in this movie. The reason I picked it, I was in a film class and they showed us the scene at the schoolhouse that you had mentioned where she's outside, she's smoking a cigarette, and the birds just keep appearing. And that's what drew me to this picture because I had never seen it before. This is my first time. But then she runs back inside. She's like, no, we have to go outside. We have to run back to the town. And I'm like, I don't know if that would be such a great idea. I'm like, maybe it's time to like.
It's gonna hunker down.
Yeah, maybe it's not time to go somewhere. We got to just sit here and just. Yeah. Maybe we'll put some curtains up and maybe start. Maybe is there a basement in here we can kind of flee to or. Right. So that to me was a little over the top. And don't get me wrong, watching the kids get attacked was a little brutal. I mean, I was like, oof,
it was, yeah.
One bird's in the kid's hair and the other kid gets knocked down and they're picking him up. And I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty cool. But I mean, again, if those birds wanted to pick apart somebody and you get a flock of those things, especially those seagulls, because they are just nasty.
Yeah.
That's what I resembled most with this picture or identified most with this picture was the seagulls and how nasty they are. Yeah. When that thing swoops down and nips her in the hair
on the boat. Yeah.
And I'm like, I could see that happen in my bald head. I was like, oh,
you feel it. You flinch. You're like,
yeah.
Yeah. Because we all know, especially in the Jersey Shore with those seagulls, like you had said before, man, they're vicious. Vicious.
And those things have talons. I mean, there's those claws that they kind of reach out and like, it's like, wow.
Yeah. What did you think about the ending?
I hated it.
Okay.
It didn't leave anything for resolution. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, am I really going on that porch with all those birds sitting out there? Oh, hey, can you go back inside and go get those lovebirds for me? Yeah, I don't think so. Nowadays, they would have, I can tell you what Hollywood would do today. The main character would run into a nuclear power plant or a burning barn and drag all the birds in there with them, and then it would explode. And then they would walk out unfazed. Somehow I made it out. And you don't get that feeling with this. In fact, they even sit there and said, we don't know what the cause of this is. Yeah. We don't know if it's hysteria. And you're just kind of driving off into the sunset and the town has just been taken over by these birds. And you're like, it's no rhyme or reason why it happened or No explanation is ever given, but the ending for me just left so many, especially after sitting there for 2 hours, and you're like, okay, eh, you know, it's random attacks. They're just attacking during random parts of the day. Was it a military experiment? Was wavelengths? Was it a satellite? We'll never know. Was it nature? A
But
virus?
do you need to know? Is it
No.
scarier not knowing? And I of like, okay, there's no resolution here, right? After 2 hours, I get it. But I think what's scariest about that is that there is no resolution, and it's bleak and it's just dread as they leave the house, knowing they survived this day, but wherever they go, it's going to be the same thing over and over
It
until it
could
ends.
be. It could be.
It
Yeah,
could be, but that's how it leaves you. The terror that they had in that house that night, they were going to get in. The birds were going to get in at some point. Like,
but they were already in upstairs. I mean, at that
upstairs,
point,
right? It was only a matter of time.
Right.
So, okay, you have a temporary reprieve in the car, but it's just small victory. But tomorrow, we may not be here. I see. I like the ending. I like that. That just, man, it's a gut punch. We're not getting an answer, and yeah, these people you spent 2 hours with, they might not be here when the credits roll. After that, they may be gone. Right? There may be one more day in their lives. I thought that was a good ending. Give me that gut punch every now and then. I don't want a resolution all the time. Right? I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool because usually you're getting that, right? You're getting some kind of, okay, I know what it's over. Like you said, nowadays they would, Pied Piper these things and blow everything up. Evil's punished, good wins. But this, you don't get that. And I thought it was cool. I liked it.
Yeah, again, watching so many Hitchcock movies that I've seen, this was not my favorite. And again, this is what he's most well known for, almost. This and Psycho. Mm-hmm. And for me to walk out being like, it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. That was just my opinion. Maybe I was just over, I had such high expectations for it, and it just didn't deliver for me. But that's just my opinion. I mean, it wasn't a terrible film. I just felt for 2 hours. It could have been an hour and a half, Aiden.
Yeah, I think it could have, but I think that also would take away from some of the feeling you may have of worry and caring about the characters. I did like their development. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Now, with that said, modern audience, slow tension can work, but does it feel outdated? Maybe.
I wouldn't say it's outdated. I just got done seeing the movie Monkey this week. Mm-hmm. Not a good movie, not by any stretch of the imagination. But it has some pretty cool death scenes in there. That's all it really kind of has going for it, is the death scenes. So if you're in the death scene, see the Monkey. But it kicks it right off. Like, and something bad's going to happen in the first 2 minutes. You get the sense of, wow, okay. And it's a pretty cool death scene. And you're like, holy shit, what did I just watch? And then it's like, okay. And it continues, and there's some tongue-in-cheek stuff going on, and some family plot building stuff that kind of goes on that's not very well done. But you could just tell right away what this movie's going to kind of be about. With the birds, you got her maybe jumping into, in Italy, the fountain, and it's kind of misconstrued that, everything wasn't painted the way it happened. And, there are rival newspaper companies that are out there to hurt my father and hurt me. And, what you hear is not exactly everything that kind of happens. And it shifts the dynamic and perspective of, I just got done blaming her for being a party animal or a party girl,
right?
Or not having any morals, to now, maybe I'm the one without morals because I'm blaming her for, before I even know who she is. And I'm just trying to and she made all this effort to come out here and everything else. Mm-hmm. And I'm not giving her a benefit of the doubt from the get-go. I enjoyed that scene. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay,
yep.
That to me is like, okay, we all judge, whether we want to admit it or not. that's who we are. We're people. As soon as we see something, it's right, it's wrong. We often don't think about the gray areas or, hey, this person's perspective or that person's perspective. It's right or it's wrong. And that to me struck a huge chord with me in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That kind of, and it was very small, very minute detail, but for me, that played a big part of what was going on in the mother, and here she is, hand and foot on the mother, and the mother's really not appreciable of her.
Right.
The mother's
Right.
like, well, I want my son to be happy. And
it's Mrs. Bates for a minute there.
I just don't really think you're the one.
Yeah.
You want some more tea, dear? Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's just me.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think a remake would work?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, with the caveat.
Okay.
It would have to be like a Sharknado.
Really?
Look, low budget.
Really?
Why not? I mean, seagulls tear on the Jersey Shore. You have a flock of seagulls attacking people on Island State Park Beach and just ripping into people, clawing at their eyes. And then you have these lifeguards who are trying to save people, or who are maybe trapped inside one of those things, or you could do it.
So you would do more of a instead of like this I consider a little more on the psychological end of things, but you would go more into the gore and to the true horror, right?
Forget that. I'm even giving you the inciting incident. It's a toxic waste spill on the Jersey Shore that these seagulls get into. Why not?
They've been getting into it for years.
It's like trauma. The trauma pictures. It's like Class of Nukem High on the Jersey Shore with seagulls. Why not? And you could do it for a low budget because it has some sex in there, some violence. You had the birds attacking the military or the state troopers.
Yeah.
And
interesting.
And then you can have sequels. It's like part 2,
you could have
part 3, part 4.
Ian Ziering.
Exactly. Yeah. Tara Reid can get her arm cut off. Nothing's off the table here.
There you go.
Why not? If you got sharks in space, why can't you have seagulls on the Jersey Shore?
Listen, Sci-Fi Channel, I hope you're listening. It's right there for the taking.
I'm willing to write the script for it.
There you go, man.
Why not?
So let's go. Final verdict for The Birds. Masterpiece, flawed classic, or overrated mess?
I'd say it's somewhere in the middle. Just, again, modern audiences today are not going to sit 2 hours through a movie with 1 hour through a horror movie or a psychological thriller with almost nothing happening.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I enjoyed the dynamic of the push-pull between the two characters, the male and the female, the lawyer and this, newspaper's daughter. I enjoyed that. Not everybody's going to feel the same way.
Right.
Seagulls are terrifying, though. And, that's just my opinion. If they wanted to get into that phone booth and get to her, they would have gotten to that phone booth. When that dude ran over, it was like, let me in.
Oh, man.
Look, no offense, bud.
Find your own. Find your own.
Oh, look, you're done.
Yeah.
Get the fork. You're done. Yeah.
For me, I'm going to give this masterpiece. This is a brilliant movie. I absolutely love this film. I loved it as a kid. It scared the crap out of me as a kid. As an adult watching it some 30 plus years later, I don't find it as scary. I find it very unnerving and eerie, and some of the other things that I had talked about in this episode. I enjoyed it, man. I still think it's a masterpiece. I think it's great, and I'm glad you picked it. Thank you for picking it, because I really enjoyed watching it again.
Again, I had never seen it. I like Hitchcock movies.
Should we do another Hitchcock movie? Should we sneak one in this year?
We'll see what we can do. We got I haven't mentioned this before, Hayden. Next week we have, or 2 weeks from now, we have Oshel High coming on. He's a DJ. He's a biblical scholar. I met him at WildCon back in January, and we're going to be discussing some conspiracy theories as well as the movie Jaws. And then hopefully in April sometime we're going to have, I'm very excited about this guest, the owners from Freehold Ghost Tours coming on board. So I'm hoping, and then maybe Jason Lasseter from Jason Talks About or Tanks Talks About It. I'm hoping to get him into. We run a very tight schedule around here, and I think we have a lot of fun movies coming up too. I mean, Jaws is nothing to skeet about. Dead Heat.
Listen,
Chopping Mall.
We got all kinds of heat. We got your regular heat. We got your dead heat. We got your body heat. All coming this year.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
We got heat everywhere.
But the good thing about this program is that we're not just picking new movies to sit here and review and critique. Is that we could pull a classic out and say, okay, was this worth watching? How did it hold up? What do you think? And that's the beauty of this. And at the time in 1963, this was revolutionary. I mean, the birds attacking the kids and the make sure no birds get hurt. I mean, those were not fake birds sitting on that patio when they're walking out at the end.
Yeah.
Those things are looking at them like,
yeah,
you talking to me?
And it begs a question just real quick along those lines. Like the scenes where you see the hand, like he's reaching to pull the shutter and they're getting him or the stunt person is there just picking him apart. Like that stuff was like, it really makes you just like, ooh, like wince every time you see it. But
yeah,
continue. Sorry.
No, you're good. Hayden, where would you go if you wanted to sell your trained bird?
Oh, I'd come right here.
RealGeekMedia.com. We are your advertising source. If you wanted to have a mid-roll right now here on our show, we could be talking about your product. Hayden, what's our price?
$30.
You can't buy McDonald's Happy Meals for that price nowadays. You can't. You're spending minimum for two people, $28 and some change for just two people. I can't imagine a family of four eating McDonald's using the app or not. But here, this is immortalized. Anytime anybody picks up this podcast, you're going to be hearing about your product. Hayden, what else do you get if you go ahead and decide to advertise with us?
I mean, you're getting up to 4 advertisements a month. Getting a lot. In
addition to our website, we're also on what kind of platforms are you on, Hayden?
We're over on Paranormal 24/7, X, Twitch, here on YouTube as well, RSS feed. We're everywhere. TikTok.
Worldwide. That's for the low price of $30. We're handing you the keys. All you got to do is put in the ignition and drive. Hopefully off into the sunset, away from the birds. Hey, I'm going to be at Monster Mania this weekend, selling my new book, Trespass Against Us. I'm very excited about this opportunity. I had to miss New Jersey Horror Con a couple weeks ago because I had COVID. But I'm very excited to get out there and finally get out there and start promoting this book. It was very personal to me. Right now, I'm reading another haunted house type book by Riley Sager, and it's so well done, his book. And then I think, wow, how proud I am to have written my book. And again, it's not about a haunted house. It's about the fear of neighbors and being locked in and not being able to go to the police about stuff and not having people believe what you're saying and the paranoia that kind of accompanies that. That's what Trespass Against Us is about. And again, if you're looking for those kinds of psychological thrillers or you're a fan of the birds and you like have to think about things, because nothing comes easy. It's not just I'm going to hit you right upside the jaw and give you horror or give you terror. I'm going to make you think about it. And then I'm going to flip the script at the end, which is what I did with Trespass Against Us.
Nice.
Look, it's on Amazon.com. It's on ChristopherMichaelBlake.com. And again, the great thing is anytime anybody pulls up this podcast, that advertisement will play, and your advertising could be here just for $30. Just go to our website, www.realgeekmedia.com, and we could be advertising for you, just like I just did with my book, Trespass Against Us. Hayden, we're going to pivot like we always do, and we're going to be talking some box office totals.
Let's go.
Hayden, it was a bloodbath.
Uh-oh.
One of those birds got in. They ate my cats. They ate my wife.
It's a delicacy.
They ate my daughter.
Oh, geez.
They ate me. I don't have any legs right now.
Lieutenant Dan has no legs.
Well, they kept my penis at least for now. But We had one clear-cut winner. And Hayden, that was you.
Oh boy, I'm
It
on a
wasn't even
streak.
close. Oh,
Christopher.
yeah, you're on.
This
What
is
is this,
crazy.
3 in a row?
I think so.
It's 3 in a row because we've only done this
Yeah.
the second or third one we've done, but I think you've won hands down so far 2025.
Wow.
The first movie we reviewed was Last Breath, the Woody Harrelson diver movie.
Yes.
I said 10 million. You said 7. Actual retail number, Hayden. Congratulations, 7.8.
Ooh.
I mean, you almost hit it verbatim. Then there was Mickey 17. It's been getting great reviews. The Robert Pattinson film where he keeps dying to save humanity is the tagline. And again, critics really seem to be raving about this thing. So I'm a little intrigued with it. Yeah. I guessed 11. You guessed 17. The actual retail number, Hayden, was 19.
Ooh. Wow.
And then there was The Insufferable and The Lost Lands.
Oh, Batista, boy. Dave Batista.
George R.R. Martin.
Mia Jovovich.
Look, I still think she's hot, but, you know. Wes Anderson, I don't know. I guessed 11. You guessed 8. Well, it turns out even George R.R. Martin can't buy enough movie tickets to solve this one. Actual retail number, Hayden. Ready for this?
Ready.
Do you have a guess on what it was?
Ooh, was it lower? It's got to be bad.
It was
1.2.
1.
Ooh.
1. It was just terrible.
That's bad. That's bad.
Yeah, it was not good. But as always, there's always a chance for redemption for me.
Yes.
And it comes this week with 4 movies.
4. Let's go.
4. The first is the Jack Quaid movie Novocaine.
Oh boy. You know, is it me or does he play like a hapless kind of pathetic guy in everything? Not that he's not good at it. He's good at that, right? Like I don't mind Jack Quaid. I think he's pretty good. I don't know if you've watched The Boys. I think he's
I love The Boys
too. Yeah.
I kind of feel like they could have replaced him with anybody in that movie though, or the show though. It's just my feeling. I wanted to see Companion because it looks good.
Right. Is that streaming now? I think.
Well, I'm not paying $20 yet.
Yeah.
I'll wait till it comes down to $4.99, or maybe it goes on Peacock for free.
Yeah.
But he kind of reminds me of that Bill Paxton type role where he plays the geek in the beginning of his career.
Yeah.
And then maybe he starts building into more military type roles and serious type roles later on in his career.
I could see that for him. Yeah.
Who was the actor who played it was in Aliens, the one who brought the alien on board and was like trying to inseminate? Paul Reiser.
Burke.
He reminds me of him too.
Yeah. Okay.
So he has
I
like
could
kind
see
of
that.
like a squirmy, like weasel type character. You know,
he's good at playing that. Like he would be good at playing that, right? Like he just has that punchable face, and he's very like natural, right? You know, he doesn't feel like rehearsed. It's just like energy, just going. Yeah, I think he's a pretty good actor.
Look, I'm not debating whether he's a star or not. I definitely think he is. Hayden, you get the choice. You want to go first? You want me to go second?
Novocaine. I'm gonna go 11.
That was my first guess.
Oh,
so I think it's a good number. My question is, does anybody actually want to see this?
See, it looks like a streaming movie.
Yeah,
it like something that Jason Statham would have done 20 years ago.
But this is the difference. He has that hardworking man movie coming out in about 2 weeks. I'm gonna go see that.
I like Statham.
And not that it's not the same character in every movie, because it is.
Right.
It's not because he doesn't beat up everybody in every movie the same way, because he does.
Yep.
But it's because I am a Statham fan.
Yep.
And I could possibly be a fat body double. But I'm going to have to go lower with this one. Here.
Okay.
I'm going to go 9.5.
All right.
It's just only because I don't know.
Yeah.
From what I've seen in the trailers, or anything in that trailer that makes me want to, and you kind of figured out that, his girlfriend gets kidnapped during a bank robbery or whatever. You get the feeling, she's probably in on it already. And I'm just like,
right.
Well,
right.
If I'm guessing that from the trailer,
It
Do
does
I
not
really
bode
need to
well.
go see this thing?
Does not bode well.
Which is a direct correlation with our next movie coming up, which leaves a lot to be desired because they
Okay.
haven't told you a lot about it, other than it's a spy flick, and that's Black Bag.
I'm intrigued by Black Bag.
This is the movie I would go see this weekend, and I still think Novocaine beats it though.
I
That's
think
the problem.
the
I'm
thing
like,
is, I think Novocaine has more broader appeal. Steven Soderbergh tends to make a little more on the artsy side of movies. Like when he was big and he was putting out Ocean's 11, making millions of dollars, right? He was big. But since then, it's a lot of like artsy kind of, niche movies. I don't think this one is going to be, I mean, I'll let you go first because I just went first. So I want to see it, but I just don't think it's going to
I know
hit
Pierce
the box office.
Bronson's kind of in the side of it, and who is it? David from
Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, I love him as an actor. I think he's amazing.
Yeah. And you got who was the other one? Kate Blanchett.
I could do without her. But
a good cast.
Oh yeah, but my question to you is: does this movie beat Novocaine this weekend? And
I don't think so.
And that's the problem I have is because it should, because it looks like a better movie overall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If I'm gonna spend $20 and then spend another 25 in popcorn and Twizzlers and everything else, I'm gonna make sure that the movie I'm watching for 2 hours is entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And Novocaine, okay, he gets a meat hook thrown in him. He's like, oh, I don't even feel that.
I think that's like the draw for that movie, right? The schlocky. Oh, I got stabbed in the neck. I
picked up the frying pan. It's my, the fryer. But
I'm barefoot and stepped on Legos.
So if I said 9.5 for Novocaine, and I think Novocaine beats Black Bag, which is a shame because I think the Black Bag is going to be a better film.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to probably go 7.5. I hate to say that's one of those ones I'm like, because I can see it doing 17 too, and I'm like,
yeah, I think that's a good guess. I'm gonna go with I'll go with 6.
Wow, you went even lower.
But
I thought for sure I laid you up there. I thought for sure you were gonna go over.
I liked. Soderbergh has such appeal for me, right? Like I love whether it's a good one or a bad one, it's still entertaining and it's not cookie cutter. It's different, right? He's just churns out a lot of films too. So like I would definitely out of those two, Black Bag would take my money, but I just don't, it doesn't have the broader appeal of Novocaine because it's Novocaine is kind of like I said, it's a little mindless, Black Bag is probably a little more cerebral. That'll keep people away, I think.
The next movie, Hayden. Talk about cerebral. Gonna make you think. High up on your list to see this year.
Okay.
Snow White.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This one. You hear they canceled the premiere for this? Did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
Oh, buddy. That does not bode well. Outside of this thing being an absolute box office disaster, people are going to see it opening weekend. And where whatever they may have initially picked for this thing, it's going to come in less than that. They might have had to redirect their estimates. This is a good one. I think opening weekend we're looking at 40.
That's an excellent guess, Hayden.
But week 2, it's gone, man. It's gonna be toilet.
Are there enough parents out there who will still take their little girls to go see this?
Yes.
And what else has come out recently? Dogman, Sonic 3.
Not much. That's not much.
My question is how many of those parents know about the controversy with this thing and are like, we're staying away from it because we got to send Disney a message, which is what it is. We have to send this is not appropriate.
That's a good question.
And what percentage of those people are family members? And I almost want to go higher just because I think it'd be real easy just to go higher and say 50 million or 45 million and just cement. Because I need a win here, Hayden. I need a cheap win.
Listen,
and
I could see it doing well above 40. I just, it's a hard one to judge opening week. It is a hard one to judge.
But my other problem is, it's like, personally, I'm like, 20 million sounds about right. But I don't think it could hit that number. I think it has to be higher than that. It's Snow White, it's Disney. People are still going to go to the movies on a, it's still not warm out yet so much. I got to go 45. I got to go for the win here, Hayden. I can't.
It's a solid guess, man. Like that one's a hard one because you bring up good points about, if families on principle aren't going to see it. There will be families that see it and they don't care, right?
Right.
Their kids are like, ooh, Disney, right? Because they're just, they're kids, right? Please, mommy, take me to the movies. I could see it. So this thing could do 60, but maybe I'm biased because I've been following a lot of the controversial, comments from the cast. And, now even recently we're seeing things about the little people calling out Disney for using CGI for those characters. So there's a lot of stuff coming to a head with this thing. And where was all this years ago? I don't know. But
was Hugh Grant not available to play a little person in this movie? Just asking for a friend.
Fair question.
Hayden, the last movie was a movie nobody cares about.
Ready.
But it's got a real famous actor, and I think he's playing double roles in this movie. It's the De Niro movie, The Alto Knights.
Ooh, I don't even know about this thing.
Exactly, and nobody does. But sure enough, when I went to Marquee, 2 days ago.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at it right now.
And I don't think anybody's going to see this thing. I don't think anybody's talking about it. I don't think anybody cares.
Huh. Frank Costello. That's interesting. Oh boy. I think if he did this movie like 15 years ago, it'd probably do well.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just this. Do people are they going to flock to see De Niro anymore? No. I just don't think he's the draw.
This probably should have gone straight to streaming. Basically, is my opinion.
He just played the president in a movie, didn't he?
I don't know.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. All right. You want to go first? You want me to grab that one?
I will go.
Okay.
On the heels of Megapolis's huge success.
Great success.
I'm gonna have to go 7 million.
That sounds like a pretty solid one.
That's just my guess. I can see it being lower, actually, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll in with. I'm gonna go 5.
Okay.
I don't even think this thing may be the Dave Bautista movie of the week with 1 million. It's very possible.
I mean, is anybody else even in this movie other than De Niro? I mean, I don't even know. But I mean, it's
De Niro twice.
It isn't being advertised.
No,
it's not.
No, I never even heard of it. So you just said it,
and that's the thing. I'm like,
it's not good.
The only reason I know is because I went to the movies this week. That was one of the trailers, and I was like,
okay.
And the trailer wasn't real specific as to what was going on. I was like, it was left me guessing. I was like,
yeah.
What am I like? What's the movie about?
Yeah.
I know he's a gangster of some kind. I don't know what he's kind of. I mean, you see De Niro, you see gangster. Okay, that's right. Not getting me to the theater. Right. It's like
It may have at one point, but not anymore.
No. Last word here, Hayden. Give me your last words for today.
Last words for today. St. Patty's Day next week. Happy St. Patty's Day, everybody.
To add on to that, if you have not seen the movie, I sent you the trailer yesterday.
Yes.
In the Land of Saints and Sinners, Liam Neeson, Denny Gleason. I couldn't believe what a good movie this was. It came out last year. I saw it on Amazon Prime. I thought Liam Neeson had basically mailed it in for whatever paycheck he could get at this point in his career. This was a real good movie. It had Seared Hands in it. Colm Meaney was in it from Star Trek Next Generation. He's always good in anything, though.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter his age. He's just always good. I really enjoyed this movie. The script was outstandingly done, and I was just so jealous. I was like, wow. The director, the cinematography, the acting, everything was top-notch. If you haven't seen In the Land of Saints and Sinners, check it out. Highly recommended. That and the new Reacher season, I really like that so far, too.
Okay. There you go. You heard it here. Well, thank you for joining us for our review of The Birds and our box office and our little, tidbits of information. We appreciate you watching. Subscribe, please, if you haven't already. And check us out in 2 weeks. We are going to be back with, is Jaws next?
Jaws next.
Jaws is next. Yes. We're sticking with animal horror. We're coming back with Jaws. All right. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.